If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
So why might one have weeds in their raised beds? That's the premise of a raised bed, in order to get and put good soil in a box, essentially, and to reduce or eliminate the weed potential that would exist in the traditional ground garden. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, you can have invasive weeds, such as we do with what is called Creeping Charlie, part of the mint family. You can also have birds and other animals bring weed seeds in, and you might have compost that has not had all the weed seeds heat treated or germinate, enough heat in the compost making process in which it would kill the viable seeds. Well, we've kind of got a combination of a little bit of all three of those. We don't have, this is one of our 4x12 raised beds here. We didn't put a bottom on this at all. It sat directly on the ground, and we put cardboard at the base of this one and then put our compost on top of it. Other beds we did not do that with, and we've got the same result for both. Now, if you are starting a new raised bed, it is recommended, in our opinion, to create your box, put a layer of cardboard down, then put the compost on top of it. That cardboard will break down over the course of the growing season, and simply what that is accomplishing is smothering out any weeds that are aggressive, such as, let's say, thistles or potentially fescue, from penetrating up through that 8 or 10 or 12 inches of compost in which you've added to the bed. So what we've done here is we're working the beds, not that we want to, but is a necessity in order to remove some of these invasive weeds. So what we have here, this is Creeping Charlie. Now, in the fall, we came in and covered these beds with leaves, and that's kind of worked in, we've kind of worked that in as we've went through the beds here. So I'm just taking a garden fork. It's very easy to do. And then this is what Creeping Charlie can do to the bed. That's all root structure. The nice thing about removing it from compost or a raised bed mix is you can pretty much get every root of this, and we can put that in the compost. Now, let's take a look at this fescue, or what I call wiregrass, because this propagates under the ground. So does thistles, but this particular plant propagates under the ground like raspberry canes would. Now, you just don't go and rip that off, and you're seeing why momentarily here, trying to get every bit of this. Okay, now, all right, now it's going this way. So I didn't get it all, but I'll find more. But what is occurring here is that was above the ground. This is the next piece that, if left alone, those are going to come above the ground. Then that's going to come down, and you're going to get 3 new plants or 3 new top growths off of that, in addition to, there's more under the ground there. So if you go in with a tiller, let's say a traditional ground garden, and you chop this up, this propagates by root divisions. So instead of getting this all out in one chunk, you chop it up with your tiller. Now you've got 50, 60 chunks, or whatever the number is. Everything looks good for about a week, 2 weeks, and all of a sudden now you've got more weeds than you ever had before, because all these divisions have now created more plants. So that's why we want to try to remove as much of the root system as we possibly can. And here's another one that hasn't got, well, it does because it's broke off there, but that's another wireweed or grass of some sort. So that's the reason why we are going through and doing this. Otherwise, we can potentially have these weeds choke out our beds. This is one of the reasons why we moved to a raised bed system, was to reduce, not eliminate, but reduce the amount of time and weeding in which we were putting forth each year in the garden, and the limited response or production value in which we've got in the traditional ground. That's why we invest in raised beds. So weeding your raised beds, yes, you can have weeds. You may have weeds unless you completely put a bottom on your raised bed or you grow on like a concrete or a paved surface.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.